What's up, guys? Welcome back to the FilthyKnobsOff-Road YouTube channel. Today we got my 2018 YFZ450. We got a couple mods to install on it. I went on 38 Motorsports website and picked up some ASI delete kit and the breather box mod. What this is gonna do is it's gonna help with the backfiring on D-cell mostly. Even after my ECU reflash, I still get a little bit of bog on a quick snap of the throttle, so this might help with it too. The AIS is a air induction system, basically like an EGR system on your car. All it is emissions. It ain't doing nothing for the four-wheeler besides making it run like crap. It just makes it look good on paper. So we're just gonna eliminate all of that. We'll more of like for racing, they do it for weight reduction, and just make it run a lot cleaner and look a lot cleaner also. So 38 Motorsports throws little barcodes on here. You can scan them, and it'll bring up all of their parts, and then they'll have links to instructions for each one. They're pretty detailed. They're got some pictures on there, so they show where all the tubes for the breather box go, the correct routing, and same with the ASI delete kit. There's a little black plug, and there's a special spot for that also. They have a picture of where that goes. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do the ASI delete kit. We're just going to start ripping everything off of the quad. Since we're going to do the breather box mod, we're going to just take all of it off and then start installing all this stuff. First things first, here's a quick little time lapse of tearing all the plastics off. You're going to take all the plastics off the front. If you're doing the breather box mod, I'd recommend doing the rear also, rear fenders and everything, fuel tank, and then the little tray underneath. Once I get to that point, I'm going to show you a little tip of how to grip that thing out of there. So let's get to it. Alright, so when you get to this point and you got this tray is the only thing you're going to take off. If you look back here and you can't get it out of there, it's getting snagged up on something. There's this little guy, if you can see that. He will be plugged into, here we go, it went like it goes like this. To right there, you'll have to take that off, and then once you take that off, it comes right out. Also, this bracket that holds all this breather tubes on is attached to that, and there's just 2 little Allen bolts, and that comes off there. So that's that. We got everything off of here. Here is all of the stupid breather hoses. They run all through here. All of this tube, this metal tube, that's all coming off. So this whole area and then all this will be gone, and it's just gonna look a lot cleaner. Alright, so you can see it right there. We got the block off kit on, block off plate. Hopefully no more pops and bangs. So now we got this little connector. We'll just plug it back into where that that solenoid was that we no longer need. I'm gonna try to snake that and then put it behind the headlight somewhere and just zip tie it and just get it up out of the way. So see if I can't lower that radiator and we'll get it back in there. got the electrical connector all shoved back in there where I wanted it. Just had to lower the radiator a little bit and shove it back in there. We are all done with this part. One last piece just for the ASI delete kit is that little plug. I went ahead and put the zip tie all around it already because it's in a very hard spot. Where we're trying to put it, if you have a stock airbox, see if I can get, is on that little nipple there behind all your wiring. You can unplug your TPS plug there, your throttle control, and it'll probably get you a little better access. So I'm gonna try to do it without it and see what happens. I got it down there. I was able to sneak up back through this way. I was even able to trim up my zip tie. So there's plenty of room in there. I don't think you needed to come this way. If you come up from behind it, get it in there, and then once you remove that air box, you just leave that little hole open, or maybe plug it off, but I feel like just more airflow. So just leave that open. Alright, so we're gonna go to the breather box now. Come back over to the bench. A little bit more complicated. We got to get this up underneath the cluster. I think we're going to mount that first. I'm going to roll over to the instructions on this one because it's a little bit different. I haven't done this one before, so we're going to roll to the instructions real quick just to make sure we're doing it right, and we'll get this thing on there. I just wanted to stop real quick and show the quality of this thing. This thing is well designed, well thought out. I was doing some reading on these, and they had these in testing for 2 years before they decided to sell them as production. Obviously these are all handmade in-house by 38 Motorsports. They claim that after racing with these things all season, that there's not one drop of oil in these, so they do a really good job. The design is pretty good. The only other ones that are recommended are RP Racing makes one that mounts to the side. I think I can throw a picture up here real quick. That one's a little different. It mounts on the side versus this it gets hidden under the cluster, then your plastics go over top of it. So I mean, it really just goes out of sight and just cleans everything up. So we're gonna head over to the quad now, and we're gonna start putting this on and figure out where it goes, and start running these hoses. Alright, first things first, I think we're going to want to remove these 2 bolts here. Oh, it's the wrong size. Alright, so next, once you got your bolts out, you're going to take your breather box, and you're going to want the 2 nipples to face in, with one out, and then it's kind of angled angle to the left here. So we're gonna get this, and it goes behind the cluster. So you just gotta kind of line it up to where it fits in there first, I would think. We're just gonna get this out of the way for right now. Slide everything aside. Installed my 2 hoses on the back side of the breather box first before tightening down that breather box and cluster back together, because you won't be able to get to the clamps. So I put those on there. The shortest hose will go on top, which will run to the top of the cylinder head. The skinny hose, the medium hose, is on the bottom, and that gets ran between the steering stem and the frame. Both hoses do, over the fan, and then down to crankcase breather, like that. So we'll plug those in a little later, but I just wanted to show you, or give you that little tip before just bolting this right on. If you want to put clamps on there, I don't know if you really need to, but just to hold them there, put those on first before putting bolts back through here. So now I'm going to put bolts on here. The longest hose will go on this, get ran straight down between the frame, and it'll come up behind the coolant reservoir. So it'll get put down, and then right behind the coolant reservoir is where its home will be. I say to throw a little zip tie around it just to hold it in place. I'll show you what that looks like once I get to that point, but I'm gonna put the bolts back in this cluster and get this all squared away up here. Okay, here's the front hose connected. I guess you could, depending on how the plastics go back on, either route it through here, and you can see it goes straight through past the steering stem there. Then once it gets to the coolant tank, drop it straight down, and then if you have a skid plate, it'll just hang out right above that. Otherwise if it does get any oil through there, which I highly doubt it won't, it'll just fill up on your skid plate. But either route it through here or maybe through the middle. I'll have to see how my plastics sit on there, but in the pictures it showed it went right through here, but I don't know if the plastics sit on this part or not. So it's the last thing we do. We'll attach this clamp on there. So that runs like that. Still better than all that other stuff. Put this back on. This will go on the cylinder head. That's the last hose that you have. They do have, that's a little long. We might have to trim that up. Yeah, we might have to trim that hose. So there was a little clamp or a bracket, let me see here, that was on this junk. This little piece here that held those cables and stuff, like right here, held them in place. I could throw a link to the part. They do sell just that little hanger piece separate. I think I might go and order that just so these are held there, not just flopping around. I guess you could zip tie them, but to make it look right and everything hold together, I think I'm just gonna get that bracket. That bracket will you'll remove one of the bolts on that AIS plate, and then it'll just attach right there, and then it holds all that together. So but that's pretty much it. Besides throwing everything back together, I'm not gonna bore you with all that. Alright, that's the end of this video. 2 easy mods. Took me about an hour and a half maybe, with thinking around with some other stuff. I'll throw a link in the description for both of these parts. I'll actually put the links for the instructions in there too, just to make it quick and easy. If somebody's looking for specific instructions to follow along with this video or something like that. Yeah, so if you like this video, hit that like button. Otherwise, don't forget to subscribe. We got more videos of this four-wheeler on there on our channel. We got side-by-sides, a lot of YFZ stuff. We're big Yamaha guys, so we also do Polaris, Kawasaki. We do a lot of group rides with side-by-sides, and just more off-road content just in general. So subscribe and follow along with us, and we will see you on the next one.